Every year, the Voodoo Experience Festival happens around Halloween in New Orleans. It's a tradition just like how families go to clean and decorate graves for All Saints' Day. The festival taglines are "Join the ritual and worship the music." Hi, I'm Alina, welcome back to my channel. Voodoo is a mix of West African Vodou and Roman Catholicism. It's a belief system followed by the descendants of enslaved Dahomean, Congo, Yoruba, and other ethnic groups. It started in the Saint Dominic colony and later moved to New Orleans. The word voodoo means spirit or deity. In voodoo, everything is seen as spiritual. The religion covers many aspects like philosophy, medicine, justice, and spirituality. People in voodoo believe in one main creator, but they think that this creator is too far away to communicate with directly. So instead, they use intermediary spirits such as Iwa to communicate between the physical world and the spiritual world. Voodoo came to New Orleans in the early 1700s when Haitians practicing voodoo arrived here. Even after traveling across the ocean, voodoo remained mostly unchanged throughout the century. Congo Square, now in Armstrong Park in New Orleans, was a big meeting spot for voodoo followers. They could do African traditions there and share their culture. Lots of people would come together for big drum circles and spiritual events. Even now, the place is still open and still holds cultural meetings. Jerry Gandolfo is from New Orleans and his family has owned the Voodoo Museum in the French Quarter since the 1970s. He's seen many things with the word voodoo in them. Sometimes people use voodoo in a bad way. They say things like voodoo economics and voodoo science. But an outdoor festival under big oak trees, the drums and music can feel magical and remind you of the past, fitting the name voodoo. Jerry says when the music is just right, it makes you feel like you're under its spell and you can't stop moving. That's when you are really experiencing voodoo. He thinks there is a connection through time in all of this. New Orleans voodoo is also called Voodoo Catholicism. It's a religion that's all about nature, spirits, and honoring ancestors. Since voodoo got its boost in 1791, many people embraced this practice, making it a big part of their way of life. In the 1800s, voodoo leaders called kings and queens were both spiritual and political leaders in New Orleans. Even now, you can find dolls, potions, and lucky items in stores and homes around the city. This shows how much New Orleans likes spirits, magic, and mysteries. Voodoo also involves readings, special bath, prayers, and private ceremonies. People use it to heal anxiety, addiction, and feeling sad or lonely. It also helps people who are poor and sick. Voodoo is a religion that's been around West Africa for a really long time, around 6,000 years. Today, about 60 million people practice it all over the world. Even though it's important and has a big history, movies and TV make it seem like voodoo is all about evil, zombies, and magic spells. For example, the famous voodoo dolls that you see in shops and movies such as The Princess and the Frog. These dolls come from European witchcraft and don't have much to do with the actual voodoo religion. Voodoo is mainly about praying to God, respecting spirits, and helping those in need. Dr. Gret Vidal is a researcher who studies Haitian and Cuban religions. She came to New Orleans for her research and worked as a teaching fellow at Tulane University. According to her, voodoo is a real religion with its own God, rituals, and connections to Catholicism. Voodoo beliefs can be different depending on where you are and who you talk to. The ideas in voodoo are not fixed and they have changed as people moved around. One key belief in voodoo is in a creator god, often called bon Dieu, which comes from the French for good God. Below bon Dieu are other spirits such as Iwa in Haitian tradition and Orishas in West African tradition. In voodoo, people strongly believe in asking their ancestors for help. They think that if they treat their ancestors with respect and care, their ancestors will help them and guide them throughout their life. In the past, when enslaved people practiced their African and African Caribbean religions, they were made to follow Western Christianity, mainly Catholicism. Their owners forced them to convert. This led to a situation where voodoo practitioners hid their prayers and offerings to Eva behind Catholic saints' images. Even today, many voodoo followers go to Christian church services on Sundays and use Catholic symbols in their voodoo worship. Like many religions, there are secret rituals known only to those who are part of the faith. These rituals are not openly shared with everyone. There is a sense of secrecy, especially when it comes to passing down traditions to insiders. This is similar to how knowledge and learning are important in the Catholic priesthood and other traditions. You can't just join and become a dedicated follower without understanding and learning about the faith. Laveau was a very important person who practiced voodoo in America. She's now a famous figure who's been in movies, stories, and songs. People talk about her on ghost tours in New Orleans, and her tomb in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 is one of the most visited tombs. Laveau is now known as the Voodoo Queen. Some authors like Francine Prose and Jewel Parker Rhodes have written stories inspired by her. Laveau is even in comic books and on a TV show called American Horror Story Coven, played by Angela Bassett. There's a bit of uncertainty about when Laveau was born. Some say it's 1794 and others suggest it's 1801. Laveau married a man named Jacques Paris, but one day Jacques disappeared and people assumed that he passed away. Since then, Laveau started calling herself the Widow Paris. After that, Marie got together with another man named Jean-Louis Christophe Duminy de Gapion. They had kids together, but sadly some of them got sick and died because of diseases such as yellow fever. Marie cared a lot about her family, and she also took care of people in her community. In order to support her family, Laveau became a hairdresser. She talked to black clients who worked in rich people's houses and learned private stuff about the rich white people who later became her clients. They trusted her and asked for her help, and she used her knowledge in order to give them good advice. Over time, Laveau became well known for a lot of things. She led ceremonies, helped sick people get better, and gave food to those who were hungry. Even local politicians and leaders asked for her advice on important business matters. Besides being a strong Catholic, Laveau practiced another religion that a lot of people believed gave her strong abilities, and that other religion was Voodoo. At that time, Voodoo already started blending with the Catholic beliefs of many people in the city and became connected with some Catholic ideas. People who followed both Voodoo and Catholicism were called hybrids. Laveau was one of these hybrids. She wasn't the only one who mixed these two beliefs, but she became the most famous. Her skills in voodoo were so impressive that she earned the title of Louisiana's Voodoo Queen. People believed that she was able to do a lot of special things, such as making people do what she wants by looking into their eyes, which is mesmerism, knowing things before they happen, precognition, seeing things that are beyond normal sensory contact, clairvoyance, leaving her body and going places in spirit, astral projection, changing her shape, controlling the weather, shooting out magical energy, which is mystic bolts, and more secret magic stuff. She was also known for being smart in business and having a strong presence, which made people pay attention to her. She also used some magical things such as arrows that can make people love or hate intensely, a mirror that lets her see into the past and future, and a book called the Dark Hold that gives her even more powerful magic, like summoning demons, making shields, and even teleporting. People even say that she stayed young by drinking a magic potion that needs vampire blood. The Queen of New Orleans Voodoo was very proud of her crown. She ruled from the mid-1800s and for many years after that. Some people didn't like what she was doing because they thought it was tricky and wrong, but she kept going strong, never stopped by any problem. alone. She had a lot of visitors coming to see her day and night. People believed that she had all the answers that they needed. By 1855, Marie was living in a big house on 1020 St. Anne Street. She did a lot of different things like helping people sick with yellow fever and doing religious work for prisoners who were waiting to be executed. One famous story about Marie Laveau is that she saved a Frenchman from being hanged. Some people say she used her voodoo powers, and others say she convicted a judge to set the man free. People also said that Marie and her daughter had political power because they knew secrets of their clients. Some people say Marie was the first American-born sorceress to become famous worldwide. In her later years, Marie Laveau had to move her work to Algiers, an area in New Orleans across the Mississippi River. Algiers was where enslaved African people first arrived in New Orleans and where voodoo started in the city. When Laveau died in 1881, fewer people followed voodoo. People were getting more involved in modern life, so they didn't rely as much on old traditions. Marie and her family did a lot of good, but people spread lies about voodoo and its followers. Her daughter Philomene worked hard to clear their name before she died in 1897. Eventually, Marie's name got connected to the Howard Foundation, which might have gotten some magical help from her. People believe that Marie Laveau's mansion is now haunted. They also believe that her tomb in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 is a special place for voodoo followers. However, not much was known about Marie herself for almost 100 years. People claim to see her now and then, and the stories about her got scarier over time. People thought she turned into a scary old woman who could bring death just by being near her. Marie Laveau's passing was just an end to one part and not the whole story. In New Orleans, people generally believe that when someone passes away, it's just a start of their spiritual journey. So could it be possible that the person known as the Voodoo Queen is still alive in spirit today? Some ghost tour guides think so. They say that on dark nights in the French Quarter, her spirit is still seen around her tomb in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1. There's also a belief that each X on her tomb with a circle around it represents a wish that came true. Did the people come back to show that their wishes came true, or did the queen herself mark them to celebrate or show her achievements? Her legacy has shaped New Orleans for over 100 years after her passing, but there are still questions about her powers and whether or not she uses them today. Today, a lot of people are interested in New Orleans voodoo. It became really popular in the 1900s because of movies, TV shows, and books. Nowadays, you can find New Orleans voodoo stuff all over the city. There are tourist attractions, movies, TV shows, music festivals, and even snacks like beer and potato chips that are related to voodoo. You can also eat at restaurants and shop at convenience stores that have a voodoo theme. If you're curious, you can join guided tours in New Orleans that talk about voodoo practices as well. Even though not as many people practice voodoo in New Orleans today as they did in the past, it's still a big part of the city's culture. The Voodoo Spiritual Temple is a place where you can learn more about it. They do consultations, rituals, and whole talks. You can also buy voodoo souvenirs in stores like Voodoo Authentica and Marie Laveau House of Voodoo. They have interesting artifacts related to voodoo that you might like to see. St. John's Eve happens on June 23rd, marking the start of summer. It's a big deal each year. It all started back in the 1830s by Marie Laveau near Bayou St. John. They used to do a head washing ceremony followed by a fun public party. Now the International House Hotel keeps this tradition alive. You can even join the ritual at Bayou St. John every year. And thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!